Do you want to see both sides of my tour?
Well, you can if you win MTV's Phil Collins Both Sides competition. The prize? A chance to go on the road with Phil Collins and experience both sides of a major rock tour.
First, you'll taste the sordid underbelly of life on the road. Do you mind? Then experience the rock and roll lifestyle of private planes, hotels and VIP treatment.
To win, answer the following question.
What was the name of my first solo album?
Send your answer on a postcard along with your name, age, address and phone number to MTV's Phil Collins Both Sides competition. PO Box 3299 1001 AB Amsterdam, the Netherlands.
Join me for the agony and the ecstasy.
So Paul, is Both Sides Phil Collins' best album?
No.
Okay, we're going to disagree on that, so let's start the episode.
Coming to you from Edinburgh, the birthplace of Harry Potter, Sir Sean Connery, Penicillin, The Telephone, Robert Louis Stevenson, and the City Rollers. It's Trilling Musical Fire, and here's your hosts, Stephen and Paul Nicholson.
So welcome to Trimming the Musical Fat, the podcast where we trim albums that are too damn long. I'm Stephen Nicholson.
And I'm Paul Nicholson.
And thank you for joining us as we take our invisible scissors to Phil Collins' first studio album of the 1990s, and that is 1993's Both Sides, the album that signalled the start of his commercial decline. So what's going to make the under 50-minute single vinyl TTMF supercut of the album? Both sides of the story? Every day? We wait and we wonder? Keep listening to find out. And we'll also find time to do regular features like Tale of the Tape, critical reception, archive interview clips, and the final question.
There's a lot more to making music than you think. Finding the words, writing the songs, making it sound good. Thought I'd do the whole thing myself on this album. The writing, the playing, the singing, the producing, you name it, it's down to me. In fact, it's the first time I've done everything myself, and I'm well pleased with the result. Being a reasonable bloke, I've called it Both Sides.
It's a tale of the tape.
Both Sides is the fifth solo studio album by English singer-songwriter Phil Collins. Featuring an adult-oriented soft rock-based sound, it was released on the 8th of November 1993 by Virgin in the UK and Atlantic in the US. Collins created the album entirely by himself, without any collaborations from outside songwriters and performers. The record received generally positive critical reviews, with Stephen Thomas Early Wine of AllMusic stating that the album's artistically satisfying songs feature troubled, haunting tales. There are 11 tracks on the album and its duration is 67 minutes, which means we need to lose at least 17 minutes today. There were 3 singles released from the album, and they are Both Sides of the Story, which was released on October 18, 1993, Every Day, which was released on January 3, 1994, and We Wait and We Wonder, which was released on April 25, 1994.
How well was the album received critically? Both Sides was initially met with lukewarm reviews, being criticized for its over-reliance on slow, dark, and downbeat songs. However, over time the album's reputation gradually improved, and reviews for the 2016 reissue were considerably more positive. AllMusic's Stephen Thomas Erlewine rated it 4 out of 5 stars and commended Collins stepping out of big pop hooks and embracing an introspective art rock style for this album, which he saw as quietly compelling. On Goldmine Magazine's review, Patrick Prince gave the album 3.5 stars, praising the melancholic style of the album as a welcome return to material similar to Face Value, although he criticized the ballads Every Day and There's a Place for Us, saying they are as bad as any sappy movie soundtrack cut ready to be forgotten. The album sold 7.7 million copies worldwide. This was a 63% drop from Collins' previous release, but seriously. The album reached number 1 in the UK, going double platinum. However, It only reached number 13 in the US, going platinum.
This is Eric Paul Johnson from Face the Music, an Electric Light Orchestra song-by-song podcast. And you're listening to Trimming the Musical Fat. Oh dear. That wasn't my fat I trimmed.
So, Paul, when did you first hear the album?
You'd got the CD, it would have been 93, so
Yeah.
heard it then, and probably I'd heard the single that would have been released just before it.
And what did you think of it back then?
I thought it was all right, just not very memorable. Quite apart from the singles, really, he didn't really. But I think that was the time where his career was declining, and so it just wasn't very memorable. But I never really listened to a lot of Phil Collins albums, although he did some brilliant singles. Didn't really listen to a lot of them, but this I don't think it's aged particularly well either now. It's not a good sounding album.
All right, okay. What would you rate the album out of 5?
1.
Seriously?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, well, we're going to have a great debate then. I would give this 5 out of 5. I think it's Phil Collins' best solo album. And I mean, I first heard this when I bought the CD when it was released, and probably listened to it in my car going home from work. And I mean, I still love this album, and it's kind of strange that I identified with it so much when I was only 19, and here's me listening to this melancholic 40-year-old millionaire rock star having a midlife crisis, who's having an affair with an old flame. Was it Latavina Lang? If memory serves. And it's about going through, a second divorce, or about to start going through a second divorce. But for me, I love that it's a deeply personal album, which Phil wrote and played on everything himself, and it's an almost polished up home recording, and to me, because of that, there's a purity to it, an honesty to it, and for me, I think the songs on it are so consistently good. There's not a bad song on it, and as I've said before, I think it's his best solo album for me. And he agrees. He says the same thing. And I think even though he knew his marriage would end when Jilly's second wife did get to hear it for the first time, and obviously listen to the lyrics to see what's kind of going on in his head and his life.
This is Caroline.
And this is Marisa.
We're the Eves, and you're listening to Trimming the Musical Fat.
What would you say is your favourite song on it, Paul?
Probably Every Day.
And your least favourite?
Probably that. There's so many to choose. Probably about 3/4 of the album, but We Wait and We Wonder, maybe.
Right, okay.
Maybe that one.
Okay, my favourite is We Fly So Close, which it was my favourite back in 93, and in 2024 it's still my favourite. Fantastic song. Probably the least favourite would be Please Come Out Tonight. Would probably get that award. And what do you think about the artwork? And obviously we should explain as well, the artwork is like all of Phil's previous solo albums. It's they all have a photograph of him with a different coloured background. So this one, it's a white background, black and white photo of him. And obviously the reissue, I think 2015, 2016, he'd updated all the photographs to how he looked now.
Yeah, that's quite clever. Yeah.
Yeah, so I've got that on vinyl, double vinyl, and it's obviously the photo from what 2015, whenever it was. What do you think of the artwork?
It's quite good. It's all right. It's just, it's kind of like, in a way, it is good, the colour, because for me, when I'm listening to it, it's actually a really depressing, downbeat album, and the sort of darkness on the cover, it's a very dark album. And I think the darkness on the cover, I suppose it's quite good in that sense, because it tells you what the music's going to be like. It's a very depressing album to listen to.
I actually remember having this on in the car when I think collected Mum and Dad and Maureen and George from somewhere. They'd been on a night out, and this just happened to be on it. I remember, I think Dad saying, "Christ's sakes, put on something cheery."
Yeah, it is.
But yeah, no, I like the artwork, and I do think it suits the album's mood and content. And maybe you're seeing things in black and white. Melancholy, simple, honest. So yeah, no, I do like it. I do like it. And it does continue that kind of homemade kind of feel, because it obviously writes the album liner notes and the song titles on the back as well. So I do like that. And we obviously seen Phil on this tour. Yeah, sorry.
I was just going to say, I know he's done all that himself. I just don't think it works. I think, like, when you think about There Tonight, that was pretty similar how he did that on himself. But I think the production on this is really, really poor. It's almost like grunge never happened. It's like the sound's terrible, and keyboards instead of bagpipes, and it just sounds so, very poor production. And it dates the album. Whereas in There Tonight, it works.
Yeah, so you're not liking it. I'm liking it for that kind of kind of directness and lo-fi route he's taken with it. Yeah, and we've seen Phil on this tour in Glasgow at the SEC. What are your memories of that?
Probably because of the traffic, we maybe saw maybe a quarter of it. Maybe it was a good show, but I think because I didn't like this album, it probably soured it a wee bit.
Right.
But it was great to see the man. Great to see the man in person. But he wasn't, from my point of view, he wasn't touring a good album. And by that point, he wasn't really somebody I was really that into at that time, at that point. So
yeah,
I was more of a Genesis fan probably than Phil Collins. So
yeah, I think when we seen him on that night, that's what I think of immediately. Heavy traffic in Glasgow, pouring down rain, Friday night, and just taking an absolute age to get to the venue and missing a chunk of the concert, which was so disappointing. And I think because of that, you couldn't really relax and enjoy the show. You just felt kind of harried, and you'd missed so much, it was just a real shame. And the SEC is not the greatest venue in the world either. But from what I've seen, I enjoyed. But yeah, it was kind of spoiled, wasn't it?
Yeah, shame. But still, the guy's a great musician, great singer, great songwriter. That you can't take that away from him. Even though I don't particularly like this album, I'm going to stick up for him as well because I think he gets a lot of unfair criticism.
An album like Both Sides really did fall through the cracks. I mean, it sold well, but it didn't sell as well as the one before it. And I just am so proud of that record, and it's my favourite album. I just, went upstairs and I did it all on 12-track, and some of those songs, like I've Forgotten Everything, I played it once, twice, and then when I sang it, I just sang it. I didn't write the words down. I just sat down in front of the speakers and I sang it. And to me, that's like, just comes out of you, And I'm very proud of that.
White man turns the corner, finds himself within a different world.
Okay, which songs are going to be feeling a groovy kind of love as they make it onto the TTMF Supercut of Both Sides, and which couldn't find their way as they are relegated to the cutting room floor? It's time to create the TTMF Supercut of Both Sides. For selection, we're including all 11 songs that featured on the original 1993 CD release of the album. Okay, so first we're going to go through the songs that definitely make the cut, as Paul and I both selected them. So first up is, well, it's really the title track, really, isn't it? And that is Both Sides of the Story. And here it is.
And the lights are all on, the world is watching now. People looking for truth, we must not fail now. Be sure, before we close our eyes, walk away from here till you hear the signs. No, 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 no.
Okay, so that was the Both Sides of the Story, which was the first single from the album, which got to number 7 here in the UK, 25 in the US, and which I have to say was a real disappointment when you consider the chart placings Phil Collins was getting in the US throughout the 80s. And it got to number 2 in Canada, so a bit more successful there. So, Paul, what do you think of Both Sides of the Story?
I think it's a decent song that tries too hard. It's far too long. I think you could take maybe 2.5 minutes off it. And I think if you change the production on it as well, it's like it's got the makings of a good song, but I think there's the makings of a good song in there with better production.
Alrighty.
Yeah,
I mean, I bought the CD. I bought the CD single when it came out, and I had the demo of the song on there and a live cover version of Always, which was pretty good. And I think the first thing that hits you with the song is the Phil Collins drums. They've got a real snap to them. I think the song's got a powerful chorus, and I like the scuzzy end to the song as well. And I think the lyrics, in some way, does kind of tread a similar ground to Another Day in Paradise. And I know he took some heat for them, you know, the millionaire rock star preaching about the real world. But yeah, no, I think it's a very, very good song, and a really good one to lead off the album and to be the first single. So yeah, that gets on to our Supercut. The second song that gets onto the Supercut is another one we both selected, and that is the second single from the album, and your favourite from it, Paul, and that is Every Day. And here's a clip of it.
Why I love everything about you, but every day I say I try to make my heart be still. Till in every way there is to cry ourselves to sleep, we will.
Okay, so that was Every Day. So yeah, as I said before, second single from the album, and it was a number 15 hit here in the UK, 24 in the US, and it went top 10 in Canada, getting to number 8. So I'll maybe kick us off on this one. So it is probably the most commercial song on the album. I think musically it's pretty unremarkable, aside from the strange sounding keyboard solo, which is around 3 minutes 30 into it. And I do really like the start of the song, where it's a Bruce Hornsby style piano intro, which is really, really cool. I think lyrically it's interesting, with the song seemingly about Phil trying to forget a past love and the ensuing heartbreak. Plus, it's kind of laying out a grim future for his marriage, and I think these kind of things are a theme that runs through the album. You know, sample lyrics. So every day goes by, and every day I fall. It makes me wonder why my life is worth nothing without you. So yeah, what do you like about the tune, Paul?
I can imagine this being on maybe one of his 80s albums. It's got that, like you say, that you were talking about Bruce Hornsby, it's got that 80s sound, but it's catchy. And it's one of the highlights on the album, because for me, there isn't that many highlights. This is one of the highlights because it's probably traditional Phil Collins. Not massively clear in the production, but, you know, if you're having to go through the album, it's one of the best, one of the better songs. I could have even imagined this on, but seriously, from 4 years previous to this. So it's going back to probably more commercial Phil Collins than maybe the rest of the album. So that's why it jumps out at me.
Okay, so that was Every Day, second track on our Supercut. And the third song that gets on is another one we both picked, and that is We're Sons of Our Fathers.
When I grew up to be a man, like my father was when I was young, I hope I can make him so proud enough to call me his son. Oh yeah.
Okay, Paul, so that was the fifth track on the original album. What do you think of We're Sons of Our Fathers?
I think I like it because it's one of the few songs that's upbeat on the album. It's quite like we're saying, a melancholic album. So the fact that this song's upbeat, it just stands out, and it's good because you want the thing like I find lacking in the album, because Phil Collins is an amazing drummer, but it's almost like there's hardly any real instrumentation. It's all synthesizers and stuff. But this song, because it's quite upbeat, that's why I would choose this song as one of the tracks to keep. Okay. What about you?
In the album, in the album notes for this, Collins states, it seems family values have changed since I was a kid. At least I remember it that way. Yeah, for me, great tune. Again, lyrically, it's interesting. The wanting his father to be proud enough of him to acknowledge that he's his son, and how the younger generation are out of control, and he's thinking back to his own childhood when he thinks it was a nicer place to be, and people have more respect. But saying that, I think all older generations say that the world was a better place when I was younger. I think that's just a generational thing. But I like the banjo type sound that plays on this song. And you hear it very clearly in the intro, and I'm guessing it's a programmed synth to mimic a banjo, but I really like that kind of runs throughout the track, and it's got a lovely instrumental interlude between the verses, which is, for me, is the best part of the song, and it's got a really great middle eight as well. And it's actually got some interesting drum patterns there, which close out the track. So yeah, one of the highlights of the album for me. So that is We're Sons of Our Fathers. Another track we both went for, and track 4 of the Supercut, is Survivors, and here it is.
No one ever meant to hold you down. I never meant to break your heart. Somehow, we are survivors.
Okay, so that was Survivors, which is track 7 on the original release. What do you like about this one, Paul?
I like this song because, similar to the previous track that I chose, it's upbeat. It's more, like you're saying, it's about Motown, maybe after you covered You Can't Hurry Love 10 years previous. So it's more upbeat, and that's, for me, that's a welcome thing in this album because it's anything but upbeat. So, yeah, it's a good song.
Yeah, I think the album notes for this state, I never meant to break your heart, please forgive me. What could he mean? So it's definitely one of the more commercial songs on the record, and yeah, as you say, very reminiscent of kind of classic Motown, which I know Phil's a big fan of. Just the drums backing on it. I think it's got a great vocal from Collins as well. And again, if you look at the lyrics, my interpretation of it is it seems that he's apologising to his wife and asking for forgiveness and wants to save his marriage, and he's seeing them as the survivors, that the relationship will endure. And I'd noted down some of the lyrics here. So I never meant to hold you down. I never meant to break your heart. Somehow, we are survivors. So, yeah, obviously open to interpretation. So, yeah, Survivors gets on, as does my favourite track from the album, which is track 5. We both picked it, and it is We Fly So Close.
We fly so close. We fly so close. Sometimes we fly too close. We fly too close.
So that was We Fly So Close, which is the 8th track from the original CD of the album. And I'll maybe kick us off on this one. So, well, I'll maybe just tell you what the album notes state for this. So, we never realise just how close we come to disaster, whether in love or in everyday life. But yeah, my favourite song on the album, love it. And I think in many ways it's his 90s In the Air Tonight. Just the way it builds, the backing, the guitar riffs, the drums kicking in. So it's got many similarities. Another thing is, I know Phil's a big fan of the instrumentalist, Jan Hammer, who's most famous for the TV show, the soundtrack to the TV show Miami Vice. And that has clearly influenced this track. I remember the first time I heard that, I thought, yeah, very clearly coming through the Jan Hammer influence. I think it's got a great production, lovely synth on it, or a lovely synth acoustic guitar on it, which I know you're not a fan of, but I think it works great. I think it's great the way the music swells as you leave the chorus.
Too close.
And I think the lyrics and song title seem to indicate that Phil got too emotionally attached or attracted to someone he shouldn't have. But yeah, it's a fantastic song, one of his best for me. What about you?
I like the acoustic guitar, how it goes in. I just think it's nice having a real instrument as opposed to everything being computerized. So I like that. It reminds me a bit of a Dire Straits song. I don't know, is it called Telegraph Road? Something like that. But it sort of goes out and comes back in. But I just liked having that guitar. It was just nice and just something different on the album. Like I say, it's a real instrument. So for me, that was a nice touch.
Hey, this is Marv from Pods Like Us, the show where we help you to find your next podcast addiction. And you're listening to Trimming the Musical Fat.
Yeah, great song. And we now move on to the 6th track on the Supercut. And this is one that was picked by me. And it is one that I know Paul does not like. And it is We Wait and We Wonder.
So tell me, when will it be over now? How soon? How far must they go to prove to you? So we will wait and we wonder.
Okay, so that was We Wait and We Wonder, which was the third and final single from the album. And it was released in an edited form. It only got to number 45 here in the UK and 43 in Canada, and didn't even chart in the US. So, do you think that's justified, Paul, or should it have been a bigger hit?
I think it did well getting where it got to be honest. I do remember the song. I know what it's trying to do, but it's just really, we wait and we wonder, and it's just, the production's absolutely shocking. And the synthesizers are terrible, and it's supposed to be like bagpipes, and it's... It's just really bad. Really bad.
Okay. Well, I disagree with that. I think it's one of the highlights of the album for me. I think it's great. It fairly belts along. It's got the synthesizer that sounds like the bagpipes. What's not to like? And lyrically, it's actually a really good commentary on terrorism in the UK, and obviously between the IRA and the UK government of the time, and trying to see things from both sides. And I think one of the lyrics I noted down here, so tell me, when will it be over? How soon? How many tears must fall to prove it to you? Good lyrics for me as well. So that gets on.
As has been said, more emotionally bare, more personal.
True.
Why at this point in your life do you feel like coming clean with the inner goods?
It happened that way. I wanted people to be taken on a little journey. Because I had some stuff that happened to me which was, very important in my life. And I wrote about it, and having written about it, I wanted to play everything. I wanted to produce it. I wanted it to be mine. I didn't want to share it. At that time, you don't even think about it coming out, really. You just make the record, you write the songs, and you do the demos at home. I did all the vocals at home, on my own, no engineer, just sort of in my little home studio.
Like Trimming the Musical Fat, why not check out our other podcast, Trimming the Movie Fat?
I think I had a couple which you hadn't picked, so I just picked one of them to get on. And the same for you as well. I think there was a couple you picked which I didn't, so one of yours gets on. And this is the final track that's getting on the Supercut, and it is the one you picked and I didn't, and it's Please Come Out Tonight, and here it is.
You say, it's been a long, long time. I'll say, how are you? I've been fine. Please come out tonight. Let's go out and see the world. We can try to find somewhere.
So that was Please Come Out Tonight, and that is the final track on the Supercut, but it's also the final track on the original release. What do you like about it, Paul?
Well, not that much. It's probably more just to get enough songs onto it to make an album, really.
Right.
It's probably because I was glad it was the last
Okay,
song, so I quite enjoyed. The end was close.
Right,
The finishing
okay.
line.
Okay, so big fan then?
It's okay.
Okay. Yeah, the album notes
It's
for this
okay.
state that when all was said and done, there's just you and me. No, I mean, I like this tune. And I didn't pick it, but I do like it. I like the vibe of the song. I think it's very chilled. Best part for me is the little musical change where it's, you'll say it's been a long, long time. I'll say, how are you? I've been fine. That's good. I like that bit. And again, lyrics seem to indicate that he wants the company of a certain person he's not seen in some time, and he feels empty without them. Now again, interpretation, who is that person? We do not know. We can only
Tony
speculate.
Banks.
Maybe Tony Banks and Mike Rutherford, yeah, maybe.
Tony Banks.
Well, yeah, maybe. Okay, so there's the 7 songs that are getting on, but there were 4 other tracks which didn't make the cut. So let's maybe just quickly go through them. So first up then, of the tracks that didn't make it is Can't Turn Back the Years, which neither of us went for. And here's a clip.
I cannot turn back the years, so I look out my window, turn off my light, but I cannot turn back the years. Can't make it seem easy when you're all that I see. Can't live in a dream, and I won't serenade the truth. People are hurting, and they're looking to me, and I look at you. There's nothing more to say. It's too bad I love you, but I'm never gonna.
So that was Can't Turn Back the Years, and the liner notes on the album say, no matter how much you think you want or need it, the past has to remain just that, the past. So for me, this was actually unlucky not to get picked by me. I think this is a song that could have easily fitted on to But Seriously, because similar to the likes of Do You Remember, or That's Just the Way It Is. So yeah, similar in style and tone, and I like the main keyboard motif between the chorus and the verses, and it seems to be a song about coming to terms with your past, and it could be interpreted as one of the songs about his affair. The lyrics seem to say that the past is the past. I love you, but we need to move on. So yeah, good tune. You weren't a fan, Paul?
No, just boring. Terrible production, depressing.
Okay, another one that didn't get on. I picked it, and that is I've Forgotten Everything.
I've forgotten everything about you till someone says your name. I've forgotten all the reasons I loved you till someone tells me that you rang.
That was I've Forgotten Everything, a song which I picked, but Paul didn't. It does not get on. The album notes say a very cryptic, well, it contains a cryptic 1939 quote from Hoagie Carmichael, I get along without you very well. So have you forgotten about this song already, Paul?
Yes. It's that forgettable. Yeah. It's just an example of the album. Another example of what the album feels like for me. Just boring and lifeless.
Okay, well, I chose between this and Can't Turn Back the Years, as I think musically and lyrically they cover similar ground. And I think Phil's vocal carry and almost resigned to defeat tired tone. And the lyrics seem to indicate that he is reminded of a lover from his past who he had strong feelings for and had largely forgotten. Or could it be about someone experiencing memory loss? Who knows?
Hello listeners, this is David from In the Lap of the Pods Queen podcast, and you are listening to another episode of Trimming the Musical Fat. Slanjava.
Another song that I picked, which Paul didn't go for, was Can't Find My Way. Here it is.
But I can't find my way. No, I can't find my way. I can't find my way. Can't find my way.
So the album notes for this say, to try and do the right thing, always the right thing. So on this one, I like the kind of sparseness of the production on the song, and I suppose it's just a simple ode to being frustrated at not being able to find direction in your life. But there's obviously something else going on here as well, and I think the song's got a really good middle eight. Were you tempted to go with this one, Paul?
It certainly couldn't find its way onto my album anyway.
Not for you. And the final song that didn't get on, neither of us went for it, is There's a Place for Us.
It's sad, but I know it's true. You see, I know you well. You'd only laugh at me, and that would hurt me soon. Just look at me here. You got me bleeding with you.
So there's a place for us on the album notes. It says there's a place, somewhere, a time and place. And this tune's more of a jazzy type one with a nice middle eight, where you look real close, which is pretty cool. But yes, it does not get on the Supercut.
Hey everyone out there in the podcasting world, this is Widescreen Podcast. This is Sam Wiles. You are listening to another episode of the Trimming the Musical Fat podcast.
So, let's reveal the supercut of the album. So we have both sides of the story. Every day, we're the sons of our fathers, or we're sons of our fathers, I should say. Survivors. We fly so close, we wait and we wonder, and please come out tonight. So that is 7 songs coming in at 45 minutes and 22 seconds. So Paul, you rated the original album 1 out of 5. What are you going with for the Supercut?
2. Go up to a 2.
Okay, well I would keep it at a 5. You obviously prefer the Supercut. I would stick with the original album because there's good songs on there that I would still like to have. If you want to listen to the TTMF Supercut of both sides on Spotify, then please join our Facebook group where we'll share the link along with each of our own playlists. It's the final question. Okay, so, well, Paul, you're a drummer. From your perspective, how has Phil Collins' drumming style influenced modern drummers?
I think very much so. I think he's getting the acclaim now that he probably didn't get. That's what's frustrating for me about this album, that I wish he would use his drums more, natural drums. But he's a very good drummer, but I don't really think he gets the credit because people probably associate him more with singing. But he's a really good drummer.
Okay. And again, technique-wise, what is it that makes him kind of stand out from the crowd? Because he does have that unique sound. What is it that makes him stand out?
I don't know. It's just, I think he's left-handed, so it's probably different from a lot of drummers that most are right-handed. So Even you think about Band-Aid, he did the drums for that. So, no, he's just got a good beat. Good beat.
I think he hits the kit hard, doesn't he?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Got a real snap to it. And a final question for you then, Paul. So I, a couple of weeks ago, asked the Phil Collins fans Facebook community what their favourite song from this album is. What do you reckon was the most popular of the 11 tracks?
The title track.
So, hot off the press. In third place was my favourite from the album, and I'm delighted to see it was so popular. And that is We Fly So Close. So a non-single. That got 22% of the vote. In second place was Every Day with 24%. Obviously that was a single. And the favourite with 25% was, as you predicted, Both Sides of the Story. So I think just underneath that though we had We Wait and We Wonder and Can't Turn Back the Years for rounding out the top 5. So yeah, Both Sides of the Story was the favourite track from the album. And let me just check out some of the comments. So Matthew Bogers had said, I chose Please Come Out Tonight now, but Both Sides is a song that can deliver an emotional gut punch no matter where you might be or what kind of feelings you want to revisit relationship wise. Every Day and I've Forgotten Everything are also pretty high up for me. But of the up-tempo ones, I'd also rate We Wait and We Wonder really high. I think Mary Caruso Lazinski, I can't pick just one, I have 4 favourites. And Frank Wesley said very poignant lyrics. So thank you to everybody who commented and voted in that poll there. Very much appreciated. Well, Paul, we did manage to turn back the years this evening, but now it's time to, take us home. So thanks to you all for listening, and until next time, keep trimming.
Trimming the Musical Fat podcast is a Stephen and Paul Nicholson production. Contact us via voicemail by going to anchor.fm/TTMF/message or tweet us at musical trimming or email us at trimmingthemusicfat@gmail.com. Keep up to date on the show by joining our Facebook group or visiting our website www.trimmingthemusicalfat.com.